so much for tuning in to This Is Real with Pastor Juan Martinez, a.k.a. Dr. Love.
And I'm Stephanie Martinez, Rave.
Yeah, now I'm starting to get used to it now. I'm starting to get used to it. It kind of flowed right there. Yeah, it kind of flowed. And so, man, thank you so much. Just want to, start off by just saying thank you to all the people that partner with us and make this radio show possible. Mm-hmm. All those who tune in on
our podcast, on YouTube, or listening via the radio. We appreciate it, whether you're in Houston or Austin, I believe. Austin, yep. So thank you guys so
Live
much.
At 9 on Facebook on Tuesdays.
Shout out to our Live at 9 crews.
Yeah, everybody who just in every form of fashion, right? Because not just financially. Some of y'all pray for us all the time. And so we appreciate that too in a world where we need lots and lots of prayer.
Yes, and thank you for the encouragement. We love meeting people who've been watching the show and who've been listening. And they're like, man, you really helped me get through the day, or I listen to you every morning, or something
it's pretty
like
dope.
That. So
it's pretty dope.
Thank you guys.
And all my guys who are incarcerated who always send us letters, man. Big shout out to y'all. Thank you so much for the letters that are coming in.
I know back to every single one.
Yep. And some of them right now, I feel like we're a little bit behind on some of the letters, but we will get a letter to you. Yes. So we apologize. And sometimes just life gets hectic out here. And thank you though for the letters. We really appreciate it. Just the encouragement that we get from you guys to say, hey, that to some of the prisons, I guess now we just send the show direct, and they're kind of listening to it all the time. So it's pretty dope. Thank you.
Yep. And so today's
a good day.
Today's a great day. It's a little gloomy outside, but it's for a reason, right? I feel like because otherwise we wouldn't have our guests here.
We wouldn't have a guest. Yeah. That's true. That's
true. I feel like the Lord poured down blessings.
The rain had him not do the job he needed to do, so he could be here.
Yep, exactly.
That's pretty good. So see, you can't complain about the rain. The rain will sometimes shift things around. And so I know this guy now for some years now, man. I've seen some of his life. We've eaten together. I know him behind the scenes, and I like the fact that he's real.
Yeah.
You get what you get. And so I love that about him. Why don't you introduce him today? All right.
So we have with us today none other than Mr. Freddy Agirre. Woo!
What? Pa pa pa! Man.
Good morning.
What's going on? I see you there.
Welcome,
Freddy's
Freddy.
Construction Company.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So so that's what do you do? Tell us a little bit about what you do today.
We do structural framing.
Yeah?
Yeah, we do structural framing. We're work for about 8 different builders. That's what we do throughout the Houston metro area.
Nice.
How long you been doing that for?
Since I was 15 years old.
Come on.
15 years old, man.
The company didn't exist then, but
totally.
I started in the industry when
it was in process.
Yeah, it was in process.
Hey, and so married, because we know you're an amazing wife. You know what I mean? So you want to share a little bit about that?
I have a beautiful, beautiful wife who has stood beside me through the highs and the many, many lows. But today,
how long you been married?
32 years.
32 years. Man, you're like a professional.
Yeah.
At 32 years,
I'm gonna try to make y'all feel old, but I ain't even been alive 32 years.
I feel more like Paul, the apostle Paul. He said, every day I learn.
Yeah, totally. And so, kiddos, you guys have kiddos?
Yes, we have 4 kids.
Want to give them a shout out?
Yes, Bianca. We have Freddy the Third.
Come on.
Edward and Brianna. And then we have 2 boys that we took in, Michael and Dalen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, that's fire. And so awesome. you hear this guy, married 32 years, family man, all these great things. Owning a construction company, which is super incredible.
Yeah.
On the show we've brought all kinds of people,
everyone,
right?
all walks of life, career
diet
paths.
plans, been saved 30 years, one day, we just really like to show how vast, just Christianity,
Right.
and I think everybody's at different levels, so everybody speaks to somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
So when they hear all that, they're like, that's pretty awesome, but that's not how life started for you, right? So tell us a little bit about your life before you met Jesus.
Oh, man. It was, of course, I come from a broken home.
Okay. How many people there? How many people in your family then?
What was your home?
It was me, my mom, my dad, and my little sister,
Melissa.
Okay. Yeah, we and I grew up in the era where it was okay to beat your mom when the cops would just come by and settle things down and just move on.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're not to be bad.
So that's no, you're good.
That kind of follows a pattern of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just it was filled with drugs, alcohol. you name it, it was there. Adultery, everything, you know.
Yeah.
In your home, like this is as you as a child.
Yeah,
That's
this
what you
is
grew
me as
up
a
in.
child.
Okay.
Yes, you know. And I used to, I don't know if you could imagine the movie Rocky. That's how my dad used to leave my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, she's a strong woman. In 2003, she quit drinking and changed her life, turned her life for God. So you know, it's been a good thing. You know, it's been a good thing. Then you fast forward.
How are you in high school? What happens to you when you grow up a little bit?
I get to high school, and this crazy thing is that growing up, man, I you know, I remember that like a lot of my cousins.
Yeah.
Man, I remember a couple of my aunts verbally telling me, you know, you're not allowed to play with them because you're going to be nothing, you know. You're going to be just like your dad. You know.
And so your dad was known by, what was your dad known for?
But my dad was like, he was like the little head honcho of the little, we grew up in the city of South Houston.
Okay.
Everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm 14, I'm already hitting the bars, you know. My mom's a drunk. My dad thinks he's Al Pacino, you know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, here I am. That's the goal.
That was a product of your environment.
Yeah, I got to get to that goal. So by the time Scarface comes out, you know, and I believe I started using cocaine at the age of 16.
So 16 years old. Are you in high school?
No,
you.
No, I'm married by now.
Okay. Cool. Let's back up a little bit. Yeah. So did you? So you get to high school? Freshman. Freshman year.
I actually worked the year that I was 8th grade going into 9th grade. I worked all summer and told my dad I didn't want to get paid, saved my money, and then I bought me a car. So
okay.
I bought me a car right after my 14th birthday.
14th birthday.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so now what happens?
So now
because do you stay?
I still start to go into high school but you know, it's just that I didn't have any interest anymore. You know?
Okay. Because the world's pulling you.
Yeah.
Now by this time, so you get out of high school.
Yeah. And man, it's because it was tough because like even through junior high. And you know, let my dad rest in peace. But you know, I remember him waking me up in the middle of the night and saying, "Hey, go over there to so and so's house. You're gonna pick this up or drop this off."
Yeah,
you know, I'm like 12 years old. You know,
yeah,
13 years
totally.
old.
Yeah,
you know, but
so you don't really have a choice.
Yeah. So and then, heck, I think I was 15. He sent me to Alabama with about
you know, a bunch of stuff
in the car. You know?
Yeah.
But you know,
so
either way though.
So you get at 15. You get out of high school?
I get out of high school because my wife gets pregnant.
Okay. I'm missing out. When did you get married? When's this happen?
When did you and Blanca?
This is between the car. This is between the car and the trip.
Yeah.
You get married.
Yeah. So then, what happens is that.
Did you meet her on the trip?
No, we didn't meet her on the trip. We met her on the trip. We met her at I met her at Super Track right there.
Yeah.
And so she gets pregnant. We dated for a year. Then we were like 13. We started dating. Then she gets pregnant. Yeah. And
so she's young too.
Yeah, she's young too. And so then we decide that we're gonna get together, and we end up not getting married at first. She's pregnant, and my dad goes to jail. My dad goes to jail for truancy because I'm not age 16 yet. So he does like 18 days in the county jail. So he says, "Hey, all you got to do is go get married so I can get out of jail." And that's it.
Wow.
So actually, the first time we got married was so my dad could get out of jail. Yeah. So we weren't even old enough to get married ourselves. We were both 15. So my mom signed, and her dad signed for us to get married. And so funny thing is, like, we'll just fast forward real quick.
Yeah.
Years and years, you know, when we would be arguing, she'd be like, "I'm not even married to you. You know, my mom signed for me."
Yeah, my mom married you.
Yeah. But, you know, God brought us a wedding down the road.
Yeah, no. Totally.
Yeah. But, you know, so then that happens. And then, of course, I begin to live the same cycle. We begin to live the same cycle.
Yeah, so now how old are you? 18, 19?
No, I'm 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
We're already still living the same cycle.
Yep.
You know, I'm abusing her
but with a
verbally.
Baby.
Yeah, with a baby. No, by the time we were 17, we had 2 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm abusing her physically, verbally, you know, and I'm abusing drugs. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. And, you know, then so I say, you know what, man, we're always broke. We ain't never got enough. We used to, it's funny thing is, here's a true story. We used to go live with somebody for 3 months to save our money to go put a deposit on an apartment to move out to an apartment.
Yeah.
But then we would live at the apartment for like 2 months, and then we would realize we're living beyond our means. So we get evicted, and then we go live with somebody else.
And then
we
cycle.
I think we repeated that cycle. I God is my witness. Shame the devil tell the truth. I think we did that like 5-6 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I said, you know what? I came up with a different theory. I said, you know what? I told her, I saw this movie Scarface. I said, I know what I need to do. We got it.
Wow.
And then life takes a different turn, you know?
Yeah.
And it gets pretty deep out there, you know?
And it seems all good in the beginning, right?
Oh, man.
Y'all are smiling now. Y'all like, we got some money.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that part, but I'm also going to remind you.
Because I people think that just because there's a little part where everybody's like, woohoo, that it stays like that, you know?
And, you know, it's crazy, though, because it literally went from nothing to something.
Yeah.
And, you know, and this is crazy because I don't know how this works or I know God's hand is on the good.
Yeah.
But it's like his protection was on me all the time since I was a baby boy.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a meme, not a meme, there's a story about the kid who talks about being behind the couch and Jesus was behind the couch with him. You know, I actually lived that. I actually can remember my dad beating my mom and somebody being there with me and telling and holding my hand and saying it's going to be okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, and so here we go. We're dealing in the imports, and you know, and it's just blowing up, man.
Yeah.
We go buy a Lexus. We're doing all kinds of things, you know, and man, but it seemed like no matter how much I sold, I was always broke.
Yeah.
It's like to me, and this man told me this wise man told me this, lived down the block from me. He says, what you do is like holding water in your hands. He says, you can't hold that water all day long. He says, it's there for a second. He says, but before you know it, that water's gone from your hands.
Gone, yeah.
And
it's never enough, right?
Yeah.
So then Blanca says, I think we're fast forward, we're like 24 years old, and she says, no, we can't. The kids can't live this life. You know, you're too crazy. You're doing all kinds of things, and you got too many people coming and going. And I said, she said, you either got to choose this or you choose us. And so, you know, I said, well, how are we gonna live? How are we gonna live? You know, this is how we make money. And she said, no, you got to go. So she told me to leave, and I left. And I went to my mom's house, and I said, you know what? I don't even know why. I said, I can remember saying at about the age of 8 years old, I told God, I don't even know why you brought me in this world.
Yeah.
I said, you know, I went over to my mother's one morning, and I knocked on her door, and I told her, hey, let me lay down and take a nap. I walked in the back bedroom and put a gun on my chest and shot myself barrel to the chest.
Really?
Yeah, I literally just had the gun just like this. And when I turned, I missed my heart by a 1/4 inch. That day, my doctor was Dr. Red Duke. He was a well-known doctor here in the Houston area.
Yeah.
He said I wasn't going to make it through the night. I was 80% machine and 20% me.
Wow.
But by the grace of God, here I sit today.
Wow.
Amen.
You know, but you know, it just.
So what happens when you come to? Like, what happens?
I come to, and so I say to myself, okay, maybe I've been getting too high. You know what I mean? Maybe, this is a little
maybe
crazy,
I need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, so I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to work. I know framing, I'm going to go back to work. So I call my uncle. Well, actually, the doctor says, you know, you got to stay here for like another 5 days. I've been there like 6-7 days already. And I said, no, I said, man, if I'm going to get this together, we ain't got insurance and my kids need Pampers. I got to go, man.
Yeah.
So 9 days later, after shooting myself, almost being pronounced dead, I was back on the house, top of a house, picking up rafters.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, you know, it just, you would think at that point things get better, but they don't, you know. So we get back together. And then again, here I go again, fast forwarding in the wrong world. And so the May 17th, 1999, it's my mother-in-law's birthday. I got busted. One of my friends who I grew up with, I mean, through elementary.
Yeah.
He turned me in. So I'll never forget sitting in jail that night, and I said to myself, this is the worst day of my life.
It was actually the best.
Yes. I look back at it now, and that's my anniversary to the better life.
You received Jesus Christ?
Well, actually, I didn't at first.
Okay. I
was sitting there waiting for my trial, you know. So then I'm sitting there, and some guy says, hey, you want to go to church with me? And I was like, no, you know.
I'm good.
And you know, and he was of a different race, you know. So, and I was like my race, you know. So I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good, man. He goes, no, come on. So, man, you're in the county. You're in a like 30 by 30 room, you know.
Yeah.
You never go nowhere. So I said, well, you know what? I'll get out of here a little bit. Let me go with him.
Yeah.
So I asked him one day, I said, what kind of church is it? He says, it's Christian. I said, I'm Catholic, bro.
Yeah, the classic. The Catholic. You set tripping. Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. So then I said, no, I'll come with you, man. And I remember sitting in there and I'm listening to the pastor preach, and I'm like, man. And he's really touching me, you know. But I'm like, nah, I'm tough, you know. This is not me, you know. So I said, I'll go back. And then the next week he said, you want to go again? I said, no, I'm not going to go this week. So then I waited the following week. And I said, yeah, I'll go back. I went. And stood up for salvation, man. And man, I'll tell you what, it's been a ride. It's been a good ride, you know. But you know what? The real thing is, here's the deal. You know, I think that, and this is just me speaking for me.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I used to feel like, man, I can't go all the way this way with Jesus because if I make mistakes, people are waiting to crucify me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like. And that's the way I felt a lot of times through my dad's family, that I was waiting to be crucified, you know.
Yeah.
You know, just, oh no, but he was out there doing that and he was out there doing this. You know, and I said, you know, so what's real? What's real? What walk with Jesus is really real?
Yeah.
You know, I like to dance. I don't go out and drink, but I like to dance.
Yeah.
You know? So I would say, you know, and I always told my wife, you know what, this is me, who I like to be. You know, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you, it's most times people end up in prison behind money. You go commit murder behind money most of the time. You just don't go kill somebody because you want to kill somebody.
Yeah.
You go rob somewhere because you need money. You know?
Yeah.
You know, so you go sell drugs because you need money.
Yeah.
And you know, and the honest to God truth is, I dropped out of school at 14. I didn't have no education. I never thought, how are we gonna make it? The only way I knew was selling drugs. But when I got saved and I started to wait, and you know, it's crazy. I get saved, and after I get out, I get out of jail. I'm saved. We're going to church, and I mean, I'm at the church because I'm trying to so occupy myself. I'm at the church 3, 4, 5 nights a week. They got something going on. I'm there.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. I totally understand. Yeah. Anything.
Yeah, you know. So then, man, like 6, 7 months passed. We ain't got no running water. We ain't got no gas. And I'm like, God, you know.
The test, huh?
Yes, man, Lord. You know, it's November, Lord. The water's cold, you know. I just want a warm shower so I can go to work tomorrow. You know, or sometimes I get a job, then I wouldn't get a job for a while. You know, and I'm like, man, we're always broke. I'm pawning. I get my tools out of the pawn shop, and then I got to repawn them while I'm waiting on the next job. You know, it's getting tough. And then just by His provision, one day the door opens for me.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on to that thought. We'll be right back, and let's see what happens when the door opens. You know, because sometimes, a lot of times, we feel stuck, and that's usually when we revert back. But you waited, and doors open. We'll be right back. This is real.
Stay tuned.
We are back. This is exciting. I couldn't see the finger.
Yeah,
I took my glasses off, so I'm like, I look cool, but I can't see. I'm like, yo, oh man.
Oh my goodness.
So, you know what?
We've got Freddie in the building, and he's sharing the story. So we have like a shift, right? A life-changing moment.
Yeah, totally.
Where you're doing your best. You're, like you said, you're in church every single opportunity you can. You're not doing anything illegal. You're trying to work. You're trying to make it. Trying to provide. Trying to stay in the right path. You know, and
doing all the right things, Lord.
Yeah, but you're still struggling. You got to pawn your tools. Got to take them out. Try to do work, and then what happens?
So then we go to church on that Wednesday night, and man, I go up for prayer, and I'm like, man, and then we leave church, we go home, and I told my wife, I said, babe, man, the kids need to eat, because at this point it's gotten so bad that Blanca's parents lived across the street from us, and we would send them over there to eat dinner.
Yeah. And
her and the kids would eat dinner over there. I would eat sometimes at the job sites, like tacos the guys would give me, and it's bad. So man, I said, Lord, and then, you know, and I start thinking about some people, and I said, you know what, let me call this guy. And I called him up, and he says, no, lo que tú necesitas, whatever you need, just call me, whatever you want. And I said, man, so I hung up the phone, and I'm pacing around the house, and Blanca's like, babe, she's always my voice of reason.
Yeah.
She says, babe, don't do it. Don't do it. She says, you promised God if He got you out of that, you weren't going to sell no more. And she goes, and I said, oh, okay. So the next morning, the phone rings about 9:30 in the morning. And this guy calls me. He says, hey, so-and-so just got fired. And I knew who he was talking about. He goes, do you want to come up here and frame some houses? And I said, which is here in Spring, Texas. And I said, yeah, I'm on my way. So by this time, the guys who would help me had already gone to work with somebody else for the week because I didn't have no work. So I went by Canal Street, pick up the daily laborers.
Yeah.
And I told Blanca, go pawn this, and this, so I could pay them for the day, just so I could show up with a crew. So I'm out there. These guys don't know nothing about framing, and I'm just telling them, just bring me those boards here, bring me those boards there, and I'm putting it together. You know,
it could have been Freddy's framing, or you, the dudes are like, yeah, so good.
So then, man, it goes. So I get my crew together, and we start going, and then all of a sudden, man, I said, man, it's. And I remember saying to God, you got to strengthen me. This is. I feel like this is the wind's blowing.
Totally.
Yeah, I said it's my time. And man, we just start going, and within a year, man, I went from making about $15,000 a year. Our company was grossing maybe about $30,000 a year, but I was having to pay employees out of that too.
Yeah.
So now, you know, the first year we grossed like $200,000.
Yeah. That's dope.
Amen.
Yeah, you know, and so then all of a sudden it's just getting better and better, you know. Now I'm hiring crews to work. I take my nail bag off. I'm no longer swinging my hammer.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know, and then here we go. Boom. We went from 200,000 the company, and then we start over $1 million. You know.
Wow.
In 2 years, and then all of a sudden, but you know, and I'll never forget this scripture I read. It says, you know, when you get on that mountaintop, don't forget me. And you know who got in the way? I got in the way.
Totally.
Yeah, because by that time I'm getting a little big headed. So we're like 2004. I'm probably framing like 40 houses a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and this thing is just blown up. And now I'm telling people, you don't know who I am? I'm Freddys Agirre, boy. You know, and I got this big head.
That pride kicked in.
Yeah. And then tragically, my dad passed away in 2005.
Wow.
And that really, really like kicked me in the throat. I really thought I knew God, but I didn't. I knew him, and I had a relationship with him, but he was second fiddle to Freddy's construction. See,
yeah, you created an idol.
Yeah, and I was mad. You know, my dad was only 50 years old. He never told me he was proud of me. You know, and I just said, you know what? I went back out there, started partying again. Blanca would have to go get me because I had money. So no matter where I went, people accepted me there because they knew him, you know?
Yeah.
And so then it's the company's still doing. I'm still putting a good face on in the mornings, you know, what is from 7 to 11.
Yeah.
I'm going to work, organizing everybody out, and I'm going to do my bad stuff. And
what does it take to bring you back? So what happens now?
I'm gonna tell you. So, but here's the catch, and I want to say I want people to know this. You know that no matter how high I was at church on Sundays. I might have been looking around and thought the ushers were narcs.
Yo, this is crazy. Hey, they go like this.
Yeah.
You're like.
They're like seating a family of 5, and Freddy's like,
he's
oh,
running
heck
out
no.
the thing. Blanca.
Yeah, but I'm serious. I'm sitting there and I'm telling her, we just get all the way in the back. Just get all the way in the back so I keep an eye on everybody.
Blanca's
like, keep your
back
eyes
there
on Jesus.
shaking her head. Yes. She's shaking her head.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then I remember there was times that man, Blanca would break down crying. She says, what is it going to take? God has given it to you all. And but you don't hear those things. That stuff doesn't register in your head. It's almost like to be clean when you're that high, it's like Chinese.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to hear it, right?
No.
You become deaf to the things that are true.
So then I'll never forget in 2006, 2007, no, 2006, a year after my dad died, right about the time he died, he came to me in a dream. And he said, and it's crazy because I just talked to another cousin about her dad dying about the same time a year later.
Yeah.
And he tells me, son, I need you to get right. And I said, but Dad, did you make it to heaven? And he says, son, I'm there, but I need you to get right so I can go. And I said, what do you mean go? And he goes, I need you to get right, son. He says, if you get right, everything will be all right. And I'm like, man, so I was like confused for months, you know?
Yeah.
But then fast forward 2007, the market crashes because at this time pride is already taking me down.
Yeah.
You know?
Destruction.
Yeah, we're making money. I don't even care about the money, you know. I'm just just doing all bad. And so in 2007, when the market crashes, by 2008, 2009, I hadn't worked after the market crashes. I don't go to work at all. But here's the crazy thing. The market crashes, and because now I'm going to lose, I don't have no more money coming in, I stopped doing drugs. And then I literally planted myself in a chair and watched, what's the Channel 14? TBN all day long. That's all I do, all day long. And about a year and a half later, my oldest daughter, she's about 17 years old, and we're running out of money at this time already. And now I'm falling behind on mortgage payments. And she walks in the room, and we had no money no more to buy groceries. No more. I went down, I literally got all my stuff together, went down to the food stamp office. And I said, hey, you know what, I lost my job. I said, but I've been paying like $15,000 in taxes the last 10 years. I said, I just need some money, need some food stamps to feed my family this week. I said, God will fix it, figure it out for me. He said, no, you don't qualify. You have your cards are too new. I said, okay. All right. So I said, I trust you, Lord. And my daughter, but at this point, I'm not like, I feel like my job, to go make money is a trigger for me to go back out there and get high.
Yeah.
So I said, I really don't want to work, but then I was sitting in my chair, and my daughter comes in. She was working at Sonic. And she tells me, here, Daddy, here's $40 you can have spending money. Oh, my God. I jumped out of my chair, Pastor.
It broke you.
It broke me. I said, baby, whoa. Let me tell you something. I said, Daddy's down right now. I said, but I serve a God who's more than enough. I said, in his time, he's going to give it back to me. I said, but maybe I'm not ready. I said, but no, you take your money. And, man, so then like a month after that, I have a dream. And God is like, literally, Jesus is sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and we're talking, and he tells me, he says, I have plans for you, but you can't let you get in the way. He says, I'll give it all back to you. He says, but if you go backward, then I have to bring you home with me. So I told my, immediately I woke up and I told my wife, I said, babe, Debbie, check this out. And she said, all right. So this is 2012 by now. And I'm dead broke. I have no money. We have no money. Our house is in foreclosure. And then work just starts coming again. It just starts coming again. And everything I do now is we try to put God first in everything we do.
Yeah.
I'm a man, though. Sometimes I might say I don't mean I mean we as in me and Blanca and God, because it takes the three of us to
tango.
To make this to work, and it just, but today we can honestly say that God has done wonders. We were just talking about this last night on the way home. I said, we were talking about where we were in 2012 to where God has taken us today.
Yeah. Where are you at today?
Today we've invested in the real estate, and we can honestly say that if God said to us, hey, that's it, close the company down, well, then we'll be good.
That's good. It's really good.
Amen.
Yeah. And so your family's thriving. Everybody's breathing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody's breathing. Everything we do though, it's all about our kids now, And I know they're grown adults. Blanca always reminds me, they're not little anymore, but I say, no, look at this house. We can get this for them, or we can get that for them.
That's dope.
Yeah, just God has been real good to us. He's, we just I think the main thing is we try to make ourselves available for Him.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Stay available, right?
Yeah. It's crazy because I write these guys that are incarcerated on JPay every day.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday. And one of my cousins was incarcerated with him. And, we were sending him a little money. We were taking care of him while he was in there. And when he came out, he was literally tatted from chin to feet.
Yeah.
And Blanca jokingly says, "Oh, look at all the pictures you paid for."
Oh wow, that's hilarious.
But all out of that came out something good. So one of his cellies, he was selling the JPay I would send him for a suit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And so when he was gonna get out, the guy says, "Hey, can you tell your cousin to write me? And I said, yeah. So I start writing this guy. I don't know this guy from Adam.
Yeah.
I write him every day for 3 years till he gets out. He wasn't never supposed to get parole.
He gets parole.
He gets parole. He gets out. He calls me. We start talking. And he says, man, he says, you know what? He goes, at the time you started writing me, he says, my family had quit writing me. He says, but he goes, I was in the Bible, and the Bible said that when nobody's there, God is there.
Yeah.
He says, and God affirmed that when you started writing me. And today it's crazy because that guy's preaching all over the radios in Mexico.
Wow.
Come on.
Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get to the fun part, which, you know, it's still fun, all of it's fun, but this is what we like to do, the segments. So we're going to start with Dear Younger Me.
Oh, Dear Younger Me.
And so we'll do that as soon as we get back from this commercial break.
Amen.
Hey, we're back.
Welcome back, you guys. So
all right.
We got Freddie in the building.
Let's do this.
We're going to kick it off with the first segment, which is Dear Younger Me, right?
Yeah, let's do
So
this.
Back to the Future, we put you in the DeLorean. Take us back to a younger version of yourself. It could be any age. What were you like? And then if you could give yourself a piece of advice, what would it be?
How old would you be? You got in the car.
Okay, I'll say that. I want to go back to where my innocence was.
Okay.
I'll
How old
say
are you?
about 12, 13 years
12,
old.
13. What are you going to tell that 12, 13? You're talking to Freddy. So,
Yes.
all right.
You know, stay focused. Stay focused, because everything that I was doing in school, I was always ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have the parent backup.
Yeah.
You know, it was just me. And,
So talk to Freddy. Talk to Freddy.
And I'm just saying, you know, stay focused. Just stay focused and find a family. If your family's not going to church, find a family that is going to church and get in the car with them and go. Because if you start to put God in your world at that age, you don't know how ahead of the game you're going to be when you hit your mid-20s.
Yeah.
You know, because if you think about it, us, you know, people who hit the streets and then come out of it, everybody ends up at church.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what anybody says. Everybody ends up at church.
Yeah.
I've had people say, "Hombre," and I said, "They're dying. Puedes venir a orar por mí."
So true.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So you just got back. I'm going to put you back 2 times, maybe 3. Okay, so I want to put you back at a time, because you said your dad passed away. And so I want to put you back in the car, and I want you to talk to your dad. Okay? I want you to talk to your dad. And I want to know, with everything you know now, because obviously you understand mercy, you understand grace. There was a season where you were just really angry most of your life. But now you get an opportunity to go back and talk to your dad. What would Freddie say to his dad if you can talk to him right now?
I said, "Thank you, Dad. Thank you for teaching me construction. Thank you for, you know, for just being my father and you know, just, he did, parents do what parents are taught. It's not that they're bad parents. So, you know, I know he did the best of what he thought was the best from his environment. So, you know, I just want him to know I love him. And I thank the Lord that you were with me for 50 and a half years.
What would you tell him in the situation he was in and the way he was behaving with what you know now? What advice would you give to that dad that was maybe abusive to his wife? What would you say to your dad?
Wow. You know, I would say, Dad, you know, that's not good. But, you know, the truth of the matter is that my dad never really, like, found good life. You know, when my parents were married, they were married for like 8 years. We were rich. My dad had the same thing going I have going.
Yeah.
But
what would you say to him? What would you say to your dad in an abusive state?
Don't swallow your pride, because things happen. Things happen, and sometimes we think mentally you can't get past it. But if you swallow your pride and don't look to the left and don't look to the right, because voices are always going to be talking, stay focused, because God's going to give you double for this. This wrong, God's going to give you double if you stay focused.
Okay, I'm going to put you back in the car. You're in about the same area, and your mom, at this moment, because you said she became clean. So maybe somebody's mom out there who's an alcoholic and drinking a lot, and everything that's going on maybe is she's going through the same thing. If I put you back at a state where she was drunk and all that was happening, what would this Freddy say to his mom if he could speak to his mom, who's an alcoholic?
Mom, you hold the keys to my tomorrow, because the apple don't fall far from the tree. And most of us, let's be realistic, most coming out of the hood where I grew up, to seek a higher education, a lot of it's not available. It is available, but life happens. So when you immediately kick in muscle memory, and who you are today is what I will become. So just think about that. If you're okay with your kid living like that, then continue. But if you're not, maybe let's get some help.
That's so good.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna put you one more time back in the DeLorean. Just one more time. You've been married 32 years. You said that you were in the same cycle as your dad. I want to know what this Freddy would say to that Freddy in the moments where, and me and you and Blanca, we've walked together on some of this stuff, but I kind of just want, maybe somebody's out there, I want you to talk to that Freddy, because I see how in love you are with your wife, and I see your relationship today. And there's 32 years of that. What would you say to that Freddy that was doing the things to Blanca that maybe now you're like, I would never do that to Blanca? But what would you say to that Freddy who's in the middle of that, and he's literally has something precious in his hands, but he's, being the way Freddy was? What would you say to Freddy?
Being 100% real. Let me tell you something. Women usually don't cheat on men. Men make women cheat on them. Your dog doesn't try to get out from your fence unless you're in the backyard kicking it. I don't mean to use it in that form.
Yeah, no.
But if you don't treat her right, somebody else will.
So what would you say to Freddy?
You better think about what you're doing, because the reality is, when you physically or verbally abuse your spouse, at the moment you're instilling pain on them. But when they instill the pain back, as a man living in that state, you got so much pride running, it kicks you in the chest, kicks you in the heart like it doesn't go away. Avoid that. Think about it. Think about it. Life is so much better. And here's the catch. There is no man in this world, no man, that without, first of all, God. But if you're married and you're not working two as one, there is no success. You're chasing your tail. You can live a lie, buy the Mercedes, buy whatever you want to buy, but if you ain't working two as one, you have no success.
What would you say to Blanca? I mean, I know you've said it already. You probably asked for forgiveness, all kinds of stuff. But what would you say to Blanca, who's hurt, abused at that time?
Like you said, through the highs and the lows, right? So someone listening may be in one of those lows right now, and they're married to a Freddy. What would you tell them?
What would you say to What would you say to her?
Honestly, this is not biblical, but no woman should sit around and allow a man to beat on her and to verbally abuse her, because it starts verbally most times. It ends up becoming physical.
What would you say to Blanca?
I say, I've told her this.
Yeah, well, I'm just.
I told her, I said, babe, I don't know why you stayed with me. I don't know why you stayed with me. You know what she tells me? She clearly heard God tell her to stay with me. She clearly heard God tell her to stay with me, and I told her,
You want to stand in the gap and apologize for maybe somebody else who maybe is not getting that apology in a time where they're probably getting abusive?
I'll say this to Blanca, I'm sorry. I am so sorry, And we always make a joke and say she came from the Cleavers, I came from the Mansons.
Yeah.
I am so sorry, Blanca, for all the abuse, the pain I put you through. I wish I could take it back, but I can't. But I won't leave this earth without trying to make it up.
That's cool. All right, let's move. You're back in the DeLorean. Back in 2022. You did great.
Next one we've got, it's a little fun, right? Because you shared a little bit about it, how, you grew up in a certain part of town and everyone knew who your dad was. So the final segment is You Think You Know Me, right? Mm-hmm. So some people probably had a conception of who Freddy was or who Freddy was going to be, or maybe who Freddy is now, right? Maybe somebody from the past, sees Freddy. So with You Think You Know Me, share with us something that people assume about you, and then set the record straight on maybe why they're wrong, or what's something that people always think of you.
And you got to start it off with You Think You Know Me.
Okay, you think you know me. Growing up, it's I was Freddy Jr. So I was always little Freddy, baby Freddy, Jr. So you almost have to be somebody you're not. And it's tough. My dad was a tough guy. There was like 8 bars that he frequented. And so, remember I said apple don't fall far from the tree. That's where I ended up at. So, you got to live up to this name, this deal, but that's not really who I am. I'm really a lovable guy, just love to be. I love to go out and help people. That's what I do, man. It just, I want to come running. You got a problem? I want to come running to help rescue you. Sometimes I let my mind get in the way of rescuing people, but I try to stay in God's path, and
it's really good.
Make sure. I always tell my kids the other day, even when my kids call me, and they call us, they won't call mom because mom will tell them, well, what have you done for yourself first? And I'll be like, so now I got this new saying: are you sitting in the car with your hazard lights on, or are you out trying to push it? I said, because when you're driving down the road, and you're driving out and you're passing up a car, and it's got its hazard lights on, you just kind of glance over and see who's in the car. But if you're driving down the road and somebody's out trying to push his car because it's out of gas or something by himself.
Come on, Freddy.
You immediately feel obligated to pull over and help that person. So that's our new saying. Are you pushing your car, or you just sitting with your hazard lights on?
So good. I really like that one.
Yeah, I like it too. You bop bop. Oh man.
It's funny.
So you want to do the struggle? Because you said the last one, but maybe we could do
it.
You skipped it.
I skipped the struggle was real. Okay, didn't it? Okay.
No.
Share with us something that the struggle was real. So share with us something that you struggled with, but then how you overcame it. Or
something that you're currently struggling and how you're overcoming it.
I want everybody to know.
We look at the wife real quick. Yeah. She's like, can I?
No, I want to. This is dear to my heart. I want everybody to know I was hooked on cocaine for 17 years.
Yeah.
For 17 years, cocaine had me in a headlock, and I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
I couldn't see east or west. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, like I said earlier, no matter how high I got, I still listened to CDs, the sermons while I was driving around high. Continue to come to church. And let me tell you, there's a saying, a hashtag that I use: God always wins. God always wins, and He always wins. And today we can sit back and say that. I'm going to tell you something that in 1992, I was bad at that point. Blanca's aunt from Mexico visited us, and she's sitting there, and I'm out, and it's a Friday night, and she tells Blanca's like, "Oh no, you don't know my husband, Tia?" And she tells him, no. She says, Freddy's going to go, and he's going to be going with his Bible, and he's going to be helping people. He's going to be telling people about Jesus. And Blanca tells her mom, man, I think your sister getting crazy here.
What was the struggle though? What was the struggle what did you struggle with how'd you overcome your struggle?
With drugs, with cocaine, with God. With God.
Nice.
With God. I remember going to and I don't want to veer you off from this.
Yeah.
I remember, because if the doctor says you take it. That's you. But I remember going to a psychiatrist and them getting in my head.
Yeah.
And they laid out a paper with about 100 faces on it and said, circle the 3 you feel like, And then it says, well, do you think you're crazy? I said, no, I think you're crazy for thinking I'm crazy. But at the end of the day, get the help. There's helps, secular, there's helps. But I'm always going to say this at the end of the day, and everybody says, well, there's more ways than God. And I said, no, that's the strongest way. The strongest way is God. Am I perfect? No, I'm not perfect. Do I have shortcomings? I have shortcomings. Do I get mad? I get mad. But let me tell you something, it doesn't matter. Don't let your mind shame you into not getting closer to God. Continue to get closer to Him daily. Just daily.
There's a way out. Here's the way. There's a way out, man. Thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate your time, your story, your vulnerability, just everything. I'm hoping that those that are listening today grasp something, and maybe you're in that place and you need to reach out to someone to get some help. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, the Bible says to seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all else will be added unto you. Stop seeking the added unto you. Seek ye first the kingdom, and everything else will get added. Is kind of what I got out of the story, right? You seek the added things and you miss. If you make number 2 number 1, then you don't get anything. You know,
and I feel like everyone who's listening can find themselves at any point in the story. You know, whether you're the child who grew up in a broken home, like you said, or whether you're the spouse who is in a troubling marriage, or, you know, the mom, the dad. So I really appreciate your honesty, your vulnerability, and all of that. And I hope everyone listening can really identify and take the value of what Freddy's sharing. You know,
shout out to Blanca, who remains.
Yes, shout out to Blanca, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Freddy, for being here.
Juan Martinez from This Is Real,
and I'm Stephanie Rave, and we're so glad you joined us. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you get notified every single time we have a new episode.
And don't forget, in Houston, Texas, on 100.7 FM, every single Saturday night, we're on the airwaves from 6:30 to 7:30, man, with real people, real problems, real solutions. The show is rocking.
Amen.
But not only is the show rocking, we're also reaching 53 cities, 51 state and county jails and prisons, and what we're doing is we're bringing the word to them. We're bringing them some laughter and some good times and some fire.
Amen.
And so for that, we need some partners. So if you want to partner with us, please click on the link below.
And don't forget to follow us on social media, #ThisIsReal, or on any other platforms. Pastor Juan Martinez.
Hey, that's a wrap. Peace.